Let's start out this episode by making mini spice containers. Cut off the tops of a plastic bottle, then seal a separate cap onto the bottom half. Now we can fill our containers with spices using a funnel. Just tighten the caps to store. To ensure that the stream doesn't fall into the tea when pouring, be sure to place the tap underneath the cup before you start pouring. If we slowly lift the tea bag out of the tea, this will prevent the tea from dripping when we go to throw the tea bag away. Our next recipe will be an interesting twist on potatoes and dumplings. Start by cutting the potatoes into large strips. Then we'll put bay leaf, whole black peppercorns, the potatoes, and just a bit of water into a large pot. We'll stack the dumplings on top of the potatoes and cover with a lid. Cook on low heat for 30-35 minutes. Our 2-for-1 dish came out just perfect. A link to the dumplings recipe is in the description. Next, we'll go over how to store cranberries. First, we'll rinse the cranberries under cold, running water. Then lay the cranberries out on a towel to dry. Make sure to remove any spoiled ones. Simply place the cranberries in a jar with cold water with a lid and place it in the fridge. The pectin from the cranberries keeps them from spoiling and the water keeps them from drying out. Next, we'll go over a few different ways to cut onions. We'll start by cutting the onion in half and removing the ends. Be sure not to cut off too much from the bottom end so that everything holds together while cutting. Peel the onion and then make a couple slices parallel to the cutting board, and a few vertically. Now when we cut horizontally, our onion will end up finely chopped. We can also make thin slices like so, and then chop those slices up for even smaller minced onions. We have lots of chicken wings that we need to bake. Let's add a few cloves of crushed garlic, chunks of ginger, and lemon juice. Then we'll season with salt and pepper. Mix together and let marinate for 2 hours. Place a sheet of baking paper to line the baking tray. We'll then fold the wings back on themselves so that they cook evenly. Pour a bit of marinade over the wings before baking them in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Pour a bit of marinade over the wings before baking them in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Our wings smell amazing, and the baking paper made our cleanup so much easier. Cracking hazelnuts can make a mess. To prevent the shells from flying everywhere, we can place them inside the handles of the scissors and then crack them with a hammer. To make cabbage rolls, we'll want to separate the leaves and cut off the thick vein in the middle of the leaf. Place the meat at the base of the leaf, roll it up, and then stuff the ends inside the roll. They should look like this when they are done. We'll cook them in this stainless steel pot. We can place the smaller cabbage leaves on the bottom of the pan, and then stack the cabbage rolls on top in rows. Fill the pot with tomato juice until it covers the cabbage rolls. Cover with a lid and cook until the tomato juice has boiled down. The cabbage leaves are soft, and the meat is fully cooked. For our next dish, we'll be making onigiri, also known as Japanese rice balls. We'll start by rinsing the rice several times until the water is clear. Then we'll pour the rice in a pot and fill with water until the water is about 1 inch over the rice. Cook the rice over very low heat without the lid for about 12 to 15 minutes. We'll then sprinkle lemon juice or rice vinegar. Then add salt and a bit of sweetener or teriyaki sauce. Stir the rice and then let it cool completely. For the filling, we'll cut chicken breast into cubes and then saute using butter or vegetable oil. Once seared, we'll add soy sauce and brown sugar to the chicken. Cook the chicken breast until the liquid has completely evaporated. We'll also add dried ginger, dried garlic, and sesame seeds. The chicken is done when the liquid has evaporated. To assemble the onigiri, be sure to wet your hands. Flatten rice in your hand and add the chicken, bits of cucumber and chunks of avocado. Then fold the rice into the shape of a triangle with the filling in the center like so. Next, we'll cover the rice with nori, which are the sheets of seaweed that are used to make sushi. Fold a sheet of aluminum foil around a sheet of nori. And then put a piece of scotch tape down the center of the aluminum foil, with a bit of tape extending out on the end. Now we'll fold the aluminum foil around the onigiri like so. Wrap the rest of the rice balls in the same fashion and store them in the fridge. To unwrap, peel back the tab of tape sticking out on the top of the aluminum foil. Then you can pull off the aluminum foil, leaving the seaweed behind. To remove any unpleasant odor that remains on cotton boards after washing, rub the cotton boards with ground mustard or coffee grounds. Let sit for 10 minutes and then rinse. For our next recipe, we'll be making an egg custard pie. We'll start making the pie crust by combing rice flour, cornstarch, sweetener, baking powder, and butter. Mix everything together so that the butter is fully incorporated. Now we'll add 1 egg and mix again to form a crumbly dough. Then place in the fridge for 15 minutes. We'll cut this parchment paper so that it's easy to remove the pie from the tray when it's finished cooking. Fold the paper in half and then in a triangle shape like so. Find the center, then cut out a circle while leaving a tab on both sides. Now when we unfold the parchment paper, it should fit into a baking tray with the tab sticking out. Pour the dough onto the parchment paper and then use a glass to mold the crust to the bottom and sides of the baking tray. Then bake the crust at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes and let cool completely. Now let's make the custard filling. We'll use the zest from 1 orange and then squeeze out the juice. We'll also squeeze out the juice from 1 lemon. Whisk together the juice, the zest, and 3 egg yolks. Pour the filling through a sieve to remove any large chunks of pulp, zest, or egg. Stir the filling with a whisk to help it pass through the sieve more quickly. Next, we'll heat up the filling in a saucepan and add in sweetener and butter. Heat to a soft boil, stirring constantly, and cook for 12 to 15 minutes. The custard filling will begin to thicken up like so. Remove from the heat and then pour the custard into the cooked pie crust. Let the pie cool to room temperature and then place in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours. Transfer the pie to a plate by pulling on the tabs of the parchment paper and cut into slices to enjoy. You don't have to be a barista to make beautiful latte art. Let's start by mixing cocoa powder together with a few drops of water. Now we can draw beautiful designs into our milk foam by dipping a chopstick or a toothpick into the cocoa paste.